The original melanated people of this planet, who were once the perfect picture of health, are now leading in nearly every preventable disease globally. Our indigenous foods and cultural practices kept us 95% disease-free. Over time, as we adopted a foreign dietary lifestyle, our physical and mental health severely declined. I gathered over 15 years of experience as a registered nurse and African holistic practitioner to address this complex challenge in my new book, High Vibration Nutrition. This is a simple guide to healing through our culture and flourishing in wellness once again. Get the High Vibration Nutrition book by Banaset Khan Sekmet at Amazon. Also, get limited edition autographed copies of the book at KemeticWellness.com. Thanks, Chem family. It's me, Banaset, your African holistic health nurse for Kemetic Wellness, and I am back with another video. If you're new here, I focus on generational healing through African holistic health because your healing is in your culture. Here at Kemetic Wellness, we heal ourselves from an African-centered lens. And lens stands for language, energy medicine, nutrition, and sacred movement. So if any of that interests you, please keep watching. Today we are talking about how Kemetic Reiki can be done remotely. Yes. So first, let's talk about what I mean by remote healing. Okay, remote or distance healing. Distance healing simply means that energy can be transmitted across space and time without the healer and the person receiving the healing needing to be in the same exact physical location at the same time. Okay. This works because energy is universal. It's not bound by physical distance. It exists everywhere, and it flows through everything, all living things. Okay. All energy medicine taps into this universal life force, this universal source of life. But Kemetic Reiki specifically connects us to our own culture, our own African spirituality. Every single culture has their own spiritual system or spiritual traditions, which just simply means the way that they see their divinity. Okay. African spirituality is the way that African people relate to divinity. And as the first human beings on this planet, we are also connected to humanity's most ancient spiritual systems. So we have a much higher spiritual capacity as 9 ether beings based on our genetics, based on our melanin, and based on our connection to the universe. Okay. So let's talk about Kemetic Reiki and distance healing, how it works remotely. How are we able to practice Kemetic Reiki remotely, and what does this look like? Okay. The first thing is intention. Intention. So the healer sets a very clear intention for the healing. The intention is like a bridge that directs the flow of energy. And intention can be felt across space and time. And we know this. If you've ever thought of a person and then received a phone call from the person shortly after, it was your intention that called them to you. It drew them into you. Okay? Similarly, if you've ever had bad dreams about someone who later on turned out to be an enemy, it was your spirit picking up on that person's negative intentions for you. Okay, so intention is important. Okay, the healer is going to set an intention for the healing. The healer may also prepare themselves for doing this type of work by clearing their own energy field using prayer or smudging with different types of incense, frankincense, myrrh. They may use Florida water. They may physically use their hands to clear their aura. Okay. They may also do prayer to balance their own energy before doing this type of work. The practitioner or the healer may also set up their physical space by, number one, making sure that it's clean. It has to be physically clean, but also by smudging or spending time at their altar. They may prepare the altar for what they're going to need to do that healing session. Ancestral veneration may also be done to open up the way before a healing session. So that person may call on their own ancestors for strength or guidance or protection when doing this type of work. Okay, so setting an intention for healing is the way to bridge yourself to the person who is receiving the healing. Now, once you set an intention, you're creating a connection between you and the other person. So connection is the next thing. Okay. The practitioner connects to the receiver's energy field. And this can be done in a lot of different ways. It can be done by phone. So you're hearing the person's voice on the other end of the phone, right? It can be done by video, where you're physically seeing the person across Wi-Fi instead of in your physical space, right? You can use a picture of the person. You can use a personal item. You can even have the person's name, right? Or you can visualize the person. So you can visualize. Okay. These are the different forms of connection that take place in the place of you having the person present. Okay. So just like prayer and ancestral veneration work, distance healing works the same way. It requires your focused attention to link you to that person. Okay, so for example, when you're venerating the ancestors, that person is not in a physical body next to you anymore, right? But it's your intention that gives you the connection to the person, right? Your words, your prayers, all of that, that's going to connect you to the person who's no longer in a physical body. So the distance healing works the same way. Okay. The next thing is invocation. Invocation. So in Kemetic Reiki, we call on the Necheru, the divine forces, for guidance, for protection, for healing when we're doing any type of healing work. Okay. This allows us to be a clear channel for divine energy rather than using our own personal energy. The healer is going to chant sacred words, Medunetter. Okay, that's what Medunetter means, divine words. And these sacred high vibrational words of power are known as Hekau. Hekau. Okay, another definition of the word Heka is magic. Okay, magic. So this is a term that's used for high vibrational words such as affirmations or prayers. If you're doing Heka in a singing form, so you're chanting but in song, it's called Hesi. Hesi. And many of the Hekau and Hesi that we do are in the Medunetter, which is our classical African language. Okay? Most people know it as hieroglyphs. Hieroglyphs is what the Greeks called the language, but it's not a Greek language. It's an African language. And the African people who wrote and spoke in that language called it Middle Nature. Okay, so it's Middle Nature. The practitioner may also guide the client or the person receiving the healing through breath work in either a video or a phone session. Okay. They may also use different instruments. So based on the reading that they're doing on this person, they're going to decide which instruments the receiver may need to either balance or open up certain energy centers. The next thing is the actual energy transmission, right? So the healer is channeling universal life force energy from the divine through their own body and sending it across space and time to the person they are healing. Because energy is not limited to space or time or physical location, the healing effect is just as strong as if the person was in the same room as you. Okay. So what this can look like on a video call, for example, the practitioner may use their hands to sweep away negative energy or pull energy from certain parts. Okay. Pull or cutting cords. So they may actually have a pair of scissors and actually do a cord cutting. They may have a sword where they do a cord cutting, or they can actually pull cords of attachment for the person they're doing healing work for. Okay. They can also use their hands to direct energy. You'll see us do some of these things in the Kemetic tradition where we are giving and receiving energy with our hands in this way or in this way. Okay. So they're going to direct healing energy towards the receiver. Now let's talk about receiving the energy. Okay. The person who's receiving the energy may feel all different types of sensations. Some people feel warmth or heat in certain areas. They may feel tingling. Okay. Some people even notice certain sounds. I'll hear people perceive different sounds because of the instruments that are used or whatever the practitioner is doing. Sometimes we wear different things, like we have sa that make noise. You may call it jewelry, we call it sa, okay, that make noise, okay? And different people perceive these sounds different ways. You'll hear people say that it sounded like the ocean was nearby, or it sounded like fire crackling. Okay. So the practitioner will use different instruments or just their physical body, the way that they move. The client can perceive it in different ways. And these different sounds and the instruments and even just your intention, how you're moving around the person, can take them on somewhat of a meditative journey. Okay. So it tends to induce relaxation. It can even induce different types of emotional release during the session. Some people will cry out. They may not even know why they're feeling what they're feeling or what came up, but some people will begin to shed tears. Sometimes the practitioner will even sense that the person is bottling up a lot of pain that maybe they're afraid to release or they have never released it. So they will even direct the person to scream. They'll direct them to scream, to let it out, because you can feel that the person is bottling up that pain and it's hurting them. Okay, so you give the person a safe space to push out that pain from their body. Okay. Sometimes they don't feel anything in the moment. Some people just, they don't feel anything. They may feel slightly more relaxed and they just get up and they're like, yeah, that was great, you know? And then later on, they may notice different changes in their mood or their mental clarity. They feel a little bit more clear, or they just overall physically feel better afterward. Now, why does this work? Why does this work? You could think about it like radio waves or Wi-Fi. Okay, you can't really see them, but they still carry the signals across a distance. Okay, energy healing works along the same laws and principles. You don't have to be there in the person's physical space to send healing energy across distance to a person. The healer is the transmitter, and the receiver is tuned in through the intention and through their own openness. Okay. So whether you are across the city, you're across the country, you're across the world, Kemetic Reiki can reach you. Okay. Divine energy is not limited by physical space. Therefore, healing can always be accessed. Okay. So, I hope you found this video helpful. If you're interested in booking a session with me, I do offer virtual sessions. I also do in-person sessions locally in Columbus, Ohio. So you can book me for that if you would like to. Also, if you want to learn how to heal yourself using Kemetic Reiki, you can learn as well. The best way to learn is through the certification classes, okay? So we have the level 1 certification program online, and we also have it in person in Columbus, Ohio, okay? Now, if you want to learn even more tools than what you would learn in level 1, you can take the level 2 certification as well. You can do level 1 and level 2. Both are available online and in person here in Columbus, Ohio. Okay. The links are in the description of this video. Also, if you're not looking to be certified, but you still want to learn about African spirituality and you want to learn about African energy medicine, you want to heal yourself, you want to focus on healing negative generational patterns, maybe you want to discover your purpose as well, and you need my assistance, that is what I do in the Alchemy of Black Healing, okay? It's our private community where you can get group coaching from me. It also has my entire wellness library on different courses, from language to energy medicine to nutrition and sacred movement. Okay, so all of that is in the Alchemy of Black Healing. And all of the links for what I just mentioned to you is in the description of this video. So that is it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.